It's that time of the week where we take a look at some interesting Magic cards that might start to move soon on another episode of Cards to Watch. Have you ever walked into your LGS with a $10 trade-in card and then you look back a year later after you've traded in only to find out it's gone to $50? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel for another episode of Cards to Watch. On the financial side of Magic the Gathering, there's been a lot of changes over the last couple of decades, and a lot of players will hold on to cards longer, recognizing that certain combinations can come along, making those cards more valuable. And the way Wizards has started spreading out into new formats and new play sets has made this more important than ever before to look at the cards you have, recognize the value that could be there, and to search on the secondary market for cards that could be valuable going forward. With what we're seeing right now in Commander, the craziest combinations can come up, as well as in formats like Pauper. Don't underestimate any format or playset you might be playing in, because a lot of these cards can jump up in value at the least expected time. So let's go ahead, take a look at some awesome cards today, some that just need a reprint, others that have potential value coming up. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So we're starting off our conversation today with Blight Steel Colossus, Mirrored and Besieged. Now he's been reprinted. We saw him come around, I believe it was Double Masters, and the price did come down a bit. But we're already a couple of years since that happened. This card has been absorbed by the market because when these come out as specialty products, they're not being reinserted into a regular base set anymore. They're not coming into standard. We're not seeing Infect right now. We're not seeing this big bad boy trample guy coming to get you in a regular set. It's only premium sets. So even when he's opened, he's being opened less. Wizards of the Coast is falling behind on their reprinting schedule. They're not reprinting cards like this quick enough for most players, and eventually the supply dwindles, people hoard a couple extras, and the price is going up, which is what we're seeing here. $110 Canadian near mint. You're looking at the average being $80.56, okay? Foils, an original Mirrored and Besieged foil, at $130.86 US. That's going to keep getting worse and worse. Older foils have significantly higher values because they were harder to open. Don't forget that out there, okay? If you're wondering why that foil is more expensive, they were harder to get. It has more value to the average collector or investor in the game. €37.18 to get that card to your house is actually pretty reasonable to me. I mean, we can't get it for $80 here in Canada, I'll tell you that. And when I'm looking at this, if this is a card you need, the question you must ask yourself is, do you think it's going to get reprinted in Double Trip Flip Masters 2022, or do you think it's going to be a year or two from now? I'm betting on a year or two from now. If we don't see it in Double Flip Trip Masters, they probably don't have this guy scheduled to be reprinted for a couple of years, which means this price is actually only going to get worse. It's going to creep up higher. So cards like this, if you need it, although it's a big ticket item, you might be better off buying it now. All right, our next card is Celestial Colonnade. Now, the reason I'm showing you the Zendikar Rising Expedition, and then you'll see the smaller screen there, the OG original printing, and OG is $6. Guys, this got cards like 13 years old. We're talking, this is old. This is Zendikar, and it's that cheap. A foil back then. If you're looking to get the OG original foil, it's only $17 because they've reprinted this numerous times already. It was a box topper promo, okay? Now, the reason I'm showing you these two is OG originals are always going to have more value. We just discussed that with Blightsteel Colossus. It may not be as recognized yet, but as the years go by and people want to bling their decks out, they're going to want to bling out with original artwork. Stuff that just can't be replicated because the stamp, the date, and everything's on there saying this is the original from that year. There's just something to be said about that, right? We all know that a Wayne Gretzky rookie card is worth thousands of dollars, and they've done reprintings of it that are $30 to $50. You see what I'm saying? The original one will probably hold more value, in my opinion, going forward. But the Celestial Colonnade from Zendikar Rising, that special kind of cool full art, it's pretty cheap. A lot of those are pretty attractive to people. Don't underestimate that stuff. You're going to see those creep up as the years go by. Zendikar Rising is about to rotate out. Cards like this will creep up in the next 24 months to that $12, $13, $14 Canadian level, and they'll just slowly etch up after that. You know, these are just things you want to factor in. If they're cards you're ever after, look at how many printings of a card there are, which one you're interested in and the values attached to it and where you think it'll get reprinted. Chances are Wizards of the Coast will not reprint these for a while. They want the value to slowly come back on cards like this, which is why they're spacing out the reprints. I don't think we're going to see this card reprinted for the next couple of years. They want to rise up to that $15, $20 level again. They're going to wait for these cards to be absorbed by the market. All right, next card up is going to be Cyclonic Rift. I think this one is scheduled for a reprint. I'm expecting this card to come back around, possibly in Double Masters 2022. I just have a feeling cards like this need to come back around sooner rather than later. When I see a card like this at $45, and I remember opening these in packs, you look at that average price, the market price at $35.04. This is a foil is $64. I mean, guys, we got some value here. And if players want to play with this, they're going to be paying a premium price to get it. That's a lot of P's in there, you notice? So it's something that I think this one needs to be reprinted a lot sooner. Even Blight Steel, if I could, I'd reprint a little bit faster just to get that price level down, let some other players get into those kind of cards and enjoy them with everyone else. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next card today, and that is going to be Mystical Tutor. Now this one's not that bad right now. Okay, 32 bucks Canadian. I mean, it's not the cheapest, it's not a $5 card. That's great, and it does have some value, which players like to know that their cards have value. 32 bucks though can easily become 50 and 70, and this thing can just keep going up if it's not reprinted soon enough. It's one of those cards I'm just keeping an eye on, saying, how often are they going to reprint this? What's their schedule going to be for a card like this? How are they tracking it as opposed to how I'm looking at it? If you're an investor or a flipper, this is a card you can probably skip for now. The price won't change that much. If you're a player who wants to get this card, it's probably a pretty solid bet they're not going to reprint it right away, and it's going to keep its value for quite a while. Now our next card coming up is going to be a Felwar Stone from the Dark. This is one of those cards, OG original, I want to mention. You can get a new Felwar Stone from any of the commander sets and stuff for like $3, $4. Not a lot of money. Great little card to have. I mean, I auto-include it into my commander deck. Everyone said I should. Great card. But when I look at that card now, I want an OG original. I want to bling my deck out a bit. I want to have the Dark copy. And I want a near mint Dark copy. That's going to cost me $35 Canadian. A lot different than $4, isn't it? $4 reprint one versus a $35 original copy. And that's where things are going to get a little strange as the years go by. And I'll keep doing videos like this showing you some of the comparables, guys. It's pretty fascinating stuff. And the sales on cards like this are strong, but let's remember, the Dark only has a print run of 65 million cards. This is a reprintable card, but there's still only a certain amount made from the Dark. There is a finite amount of OG original cards to be had by players. So that's where I'm at with these kind of things as a collectible, as an investable. To me, this card is investable. Paying some good money and getting a near mint copy, people not recognizing that value now, who knows what 10 years will bring you. If you're a new player, I understand it seems like a pricey card, but you're going to love looking at it and enjoy playing with it. Amazing stuff. Average price, $23.51 US. This is not that bad. I mean, it's going to get worse, but it's not that bad right now. Now, our next card, Senseis Dividing Top. Take a look at that foil price. This is an OG original. These were harder to get. Champions of Kamigawa. Foils were harder to get. I look at that and see it's $449 US. Guys, we're talking $600 Canadian foil. That is a lot of money, but these are original stuff. $70 Canadian for a near mint copy. The average price is $59. This one needs a reprint. And you know what? It could come up in Double Masters 2022. But if cards like this don't appear in Double Masters 2022, that's when the market's here. It's dipping down a bit. After that, if it doesn't show up there as a spoiler, if it's not in the list of cards coming back in Double Masters 2022, that's where you're going to see the market say, okay, they're not reprinting it this year. Time to push it forward. And you're going to see the price slowly start going up again for another year on a card like this. That seems to be the spacing. Birthing Pod, new Phyrexia. Pay attention to a lot of the new Phyrexian cards. They're all starting to just kind of tick up a little bit right now with the idea that we are going to face them off in Dominaria United. A lot of these Phyrexian cards are starting to go up. Birthing Pod has had quite a few sales. It could possibly make the top 10 video this week. Just a card to keep an eye out. Original foil one, $45. See that significant price difference. $24 Canadian for a near mint copy. These sets are getting old. And the longer these sets go between printings, the more pricey the original cards are going to get. All right, let's check this out. I'm showing you guys Icing Death Frost Tyrant. This is Adventures in Forgotten Realms. This was a fun card to play with. You know, when the dragon dies, it has vigilance and flying, but when it dies, it becomes a frost brand, a little sword equipment piece, which is kind of cool. Last week in the video, I showed you guys Tiamat. That was around, I think, 12 to 14 bucks locally here just for this base copy. And then they showed us today, for Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, you can see the card right here, Miriam the Sentinel Worm. Okay? Now, when a card like Miriam comes along, and they've given us cards like Tiamat, this is where dragons, and I'm going to show you a couple dragons now that are very inexpensive. Dragon commander decks could become a thing. They showed us a whole bunch of cards today. And when you're at the ground level like this and you see a card for $2, buying 4 of Icing Death Frost Tyrant for $8 is a pretty inexpensive prospect. Getting 4 Tiamats for $60, probably a little bit less than $60, that's not that expensive. Remember, D&D was not opened to the masses. It got opened once. Everyone disliked it, and it got left to the sidelines like a dust collecting in your corner of your room, okay? You're ignoring it. You're ignoring it to your own peril. A price of $1.89 to me is a very inexpensive amount of money to get a 4 play set for myself, 4 to hold on to. And don't forget, the alternate frames in these cards are beautiful. So paying a few extra bucks and getting yourself a play set is probably not the worst thing you could do. And with cards like the Sentinel Worm here, where it says, you know, whenever a non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary. And that's what I'm talking about with a card like Tiamat. You put an extra one into play, it's not legendary, but I'm still going to have all the game effects go off and get 5 more dragons out. Guys, this could be disgusting, depending on how you build your deck. Cards like this can change the way values are perceived for cards. So I want to make people aware of that, because after this video goes out and people start watching it, I know there'll be some sales. But, you know, be smart. Like, I'm not saying invest hundreds of dollars in, but the dragons I'm showing you today are pretty inexpensive ones. And that's why I'm mentioning it to you, because I knew this was happening just based on some of the cards I was seeing in Baldur's Gate Commander Legends. There's enough dragons there to start really putting together with some other really OP dragons from back in the day, linking these all together into a devastating, overwhelming tide of dragon death for a commander deck. All right, now we're taking a look at our next one. The Desert Doom, same thing. You see what I'm saying? It's a $2 card. 4 of them is like $8. This thing has a really good ward. It's 5 for a 5/5. It flies, and it deals damage and draws cards. That's pretty nice. The average price is $1.66. Sure, these are going to rotate out, and they're going to get kicked to the curb and sit there. The alternate arts are like $5-6 Canadian. I'll be honest, guys. I went to my local store and I bought 4 of the alternate art Tiamat full art. They were $26 each, but I couldn't pass them up. I didn't have a playset of 4, and I wanted them, so I went ahead and bought 4 for myself. And that's what I'm doing with cards like this. I don't care about $8. I just, don't buy a Starbucks coffee that day. And I've got 4 of it, and if it goes up in value, great. If it doesn't, you've got your play set of 4 and it didn't cost you a lot. But if this card ever hits the $5, $6, $7 level, you've triple X'd your money, right? It's just something that I like to pay attention to when I'm looking at my cards to watch. Now, our next card, again, Infernal of the Starmount. Another D&D card, $8 Canadian, a little more expensive, I admit it. But this one can't be countered. It has flying, it has haste. It can be pumped up, which means when this would come into play, if you have the Myriad Sentinel out, this is going to make 2 6/6 flying haste big beasties coming at you. One's legendary, one is not, which means you can have tons of dragons in there with the right combination of spells, searching and dredging through your deck to get the cards you want. Cards like this just become insanity. Like, they're just awesome. And that's what I like to think about when I think about cards I can watch, because at $5 a card US, it's a very inexpensive prospect to spend $20 and get 4 for the average player. Now, the last card I want to show you guys today, Jeweled Lotus, Commander Legends. That is the OG original. Wizards looks like they're not putting it into Baldur's Gate. Like, it's not going to show up. We have no Jeweled Moxes by the look of it. None of my dreams have come true of them expanding on the Jeweled series, which means this card will start to climb. Commander Legends is out of print. If it doesn't show up in Double Masters as like some kind of add-on card, right? If it doesn't show up there, this card is going to creep up because it's in their year of sales, of people absorbing it in the market and not being enough out there. I understand it's a much more pricey card, but if you were hoping to get this card, it's going to get worse for you, okay? It's not going to get cheaper. It's going to get more expensive. And when I see those kind of cards, I'm looking always at a worst case scenario. If it gets reprinted, the value is not going to change that much. But if it doesn't get reprinted, it's going to go up because there's only so many out there, right? There's only so many people opening those boxes. And Commander Legends being out of print means the boxes are going to get more expensive. They're going to go from 140 to 160. That box is going to be $200 before you know it. I've mentioned it on the channel before. So there you have it. These are the cards I'm watching this week and wanted to bring that all out to you. Please make sure to leave those comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? I'm the guy who didn't graduate Magic University. But for some reason, my gut tells me to watch this stuff, and it usually works out pretty well. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video today. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Hey guys, a big shout out to all my fantastic patrons on the channel who make these videos possible each and every day by showing their support for my content creation. Patrons make the world go round. Hey, you guys made it to the end of the video. What's up? Thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video today on cards to watch. And of course, a Ranger's Longbow is going into the 10K box because we're getting closer. The rules of the 10K party are going to happen soon, and this 10K box will be special for some reason to probably a few of you who've actually recorded all the craziness that has gone in there over the last year. It's going to be fun times. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out with me, man. You guys are awesome. Why are you still here? You're supposed to leave. You're supposed to go now. Eat dinner. Eat lunch. This is usually 11:15 video, so you're probably eating lunch at this point. You're not supposed to be staring at things right now. You want to stare at the background there and see some cool stuff? I don't mind. There you go. Take a look. Got Deadpool up there. Got some mail I haven't opened yet to share with you guys later when the rest of the mail comes in. We got some Power. Got some New Capenna, which I lost a lot of money on. Got Zendikar Rising. Hey, we got some Robotech, Veritech hover tank there. Pretty cool. And a Hulk 181. What, you want more? You'll come back tomorrow. We'll talk about it again.